Microsoft Excel has for many years been seen as a standard industry tool for creating operational reports. Excel is also widely used by energy managers to generate individual evaluations. The energy archive provided by the energy data management system V004 ensures an ideal source of data for spreadsheet analysis. To facilitate interaction between the two systems, the Visual Energy package includes an Excel add-in. This guarantees not only simple access to individual data objects, but also offers all the necessary functions for preparing dynamic, up-to-the-minute reports. The prerequisite for this extensive set of functions is Microsoft Excel 2007 or 2010. Administrator rights are required, at least temporarily, to install the add-in on your PC. You will then find a link in the Visual Energy web application under Extras to download the setup package. Download the package locally and subsequently run it with administrator rights. A new menu tab entitled Visual Energy 4 is available after restarting Excel. It contains a toolbar with a few buttons. You must initially and only once establish a connection to retrieve data using the Visual Energy add-in. To do so, click on the Server Project button. This provides access to the Settings dialog. Then enter the connection string to the Visual Energy 4 web. This is the same string as in your browser, but without the leading HTTP and only up to /VE for web. Subsequently, use your username and password just the same as you would to log into Visual Energy 4 web. The idea behind the add-in therefore also becomes obvious. You can use Excel to log into Visual Energy 4 instead of the web interface. Excel is a normal client application for Visual Energy 4. Excel, on the other hand, offers you a high-performance tool to retrieve and edit available energy data individually. Let's look at a few examples to see just how easy it is. After logging in, use the Project button to open a window containing the project structure. This is where you will find all the locations, media, distributions, metering points and the saved measured parameters. The system metering points for the accounting grid totals and differences are also provided here. They are displayed in red to facilitate differentiation. Depending on the actual element, the right mouse button provides you with various functions. Let's start with Copy the node name. Click on an element, for example on a metering point. And while holding the left mouse button, drag it into a cell. After releasing the button, you will see that the metering point name has been copied into the cell. If you desire the metering point identifier instead of the name, it can be set accordingly in the context menu and executed in the aforementioned manner. However, if you select a function in the context menu, you are not provided with a copied text via the clipboard. As a special function always retrieves the required information from Visual Energy when calculating the cell. This allows you to create dynamic spreadsheets and always receive the latest value from the energy archive. This is clearly illustrated by means of a retrieved energy volume. At first, we again use the project window and select the Total function by clicking the right mouse button on the desired measured parameter, in this case P plus load profile total. We can subsequently specify a time range using the start and end point. As in the previous example, we can now drag the measured parameter into the desired cell while holding the left mouse button. The add-in executes all further steps, creates the function and retrieves the data for the desired time period. The user interface even allows us to subsequently adapt the time period. Let's take a closer look at the function and the individual function arguments. At first, we see the ID and thus the unique metering point identifier. It informs Visual Energy from which metering point we wish to receive data. This is followed by the parameter for the OBIS measured parameter. We can therefore clearly request, for example, active energy reference or reactive energy reference, etc. The next two parameters are also fairly clear. The start and end point can be determined via the time and date. The last parameter, however, is only used for error outputs and can remain empty. Now let's try to forward the parameters. I wish to determine the time period using my own Excel cells. To accomplish this, a time and date must be entered in an empty cell. Please note that all measured values are saved with the end of period time. In other words, the first completed measuring period of a day divided into 15-minute measuring periods is stored with the timestamp 0015. The last period ends accordingly at 0000 on the following day. Once both time points have been defined, I inform the function where the start or end date can be found. And lo and behold, it works. It is now easy, for example, using a form or another Excel spreadsheet to alter the time range and to retrieve the appropriate energy value. This way, it is possible to generate extensive and highly individual evaluations and to update them, for example, on a monthly basis. The add-in contains a whole host of functions to also retrieve special information, such as cost center, consumption values or power peaks. The fast-track monitoring of individual measurement parameters has also been considered. Highlight a unique metering point and then use this button to request detailed information. On the one hand, you receive a list of the OBIS measurement parameters that are actually available in the metering point, and on the other hand, you can retrieve a data series by highlighting a measurement parameter and specifying the time range. This also ensures the transfer of highlighted data elements into the Excel worksheet via the clipboard. The data processing of cost centers even goes one step further. The dialog allows you to create new cost centers or change existing ones. This means the mass creation of cost centers is also possible. The clipboard can also be used to add larger lists. The new cost centers are available in Visual Energy after being saved. Deletion takes place in the same way. Visual Energy employs user rights to ensure that respective operations can only be executed by the cost center owner. Finally, a further example of a complex spreadsheet that retrieves the period values from the current and the previous 2 years, adds up the totals on a monthly basis and groups them accordingly in a diagram. As soon as we select a different metering point, the data is retrieved and calculated again. The Excel add-in for Visual Energy 4 allows you to achieve perfect energy calculations for your business without the need for programming skills.